Hello, Frugal Force. Once again, this is Captain Frugal reporting for duty. And this is another episode of my road rage. Before I get into the topic and everything, I want to mention last night I did a live stream comic book review for Rags issue number 1. Unfortunately, I was inviting, I had some technical issues. What happened was I was inviting some other people on after I discussed my thoughts on the issue. I invited some other guests on to discuss the issue and comics as well in general. And unfortunately, I had the oddest thing I've had computer-wise in a long time. I lost all audio. It's like my audio drivers vanished. So I had to actually shut down the stream. Unfortunately, these two gentlemen were there trying to hold it up and everything, you know, and keep going with it. I mean, I'm sure they were doing a great job. Actually, they did. I listened to it afterwards, and I got my audio back, and they were doing a great job, great discussion. That video will have, what I did is I took the video, then I took it down, I edited it, so it sticks just to the review of Rags 1, and I did an apology on there, too, as well, to the gentlemen that were gracious enough to come on there and go, wow, he disappeared, what happened? And I also, you know, I'm going to invite them to do another stream with me because I owe them that, and I greatly do apologize for that. So anyway, yeah, I had to reload my drivers in even and everything. It completely went bonkers, so I had to shut down, reload my drivers, and then reboot the system too again after that for one of them to take effect. And it's all up and running. All right, so we got that out of the way. It's been an interesting technical period of time lately. The next thing I want to address before I get into my main topic is, you might notice I haven't done another Wheel of Fortune, you know, join in fun video, and that's because I was having PlayStation issues. My hard drive actually went bad on my PlayStation. It was getting corrupted files left and right, causing my PlayStation to die. Well, anyway, the hard drive failure was just one part. Actually, the motherboard went bad. The chip on the board, I guess it got too hot, which can happen sometimes with those, even though it was clear and clean. And that caused issues, which ended up corrupting and hurting my hard drive. So I had to take care of that too. I did record a video on how to swap out a hard drive, though, in a PlayStation 3, which I will put up eventually. Okay, so we got that. Alright, and one more thing before I get into my main topic is if you enjoy these videos, please be sure to hit like and subscribe, hit that notifications bell. Tell other people about these videos too to help me continue to promote the channel. I would greatly appreciate that because I know for a fact that not everybody is getting the notifications. So that's one of the reasons I spam it out a little bit on Twitter. So if that does bother you at all that I'm sending you, adding you with the video, just let me know, okay? I'll put you on a list of don't bother, and I apologize for that. It's just I know not everyone's getting my notifications. All right. And also, if you do really enjoy these, I do have a Patreon right now. You can see that link at the bottom of the info bar. You can help me out for as little as $1 a month. Little Frugal and I, and of course, American Dream, which is hopefully going to make some appearances in some videos here pretty soon. We'll greatly appreciate that. All right, so now let's finally get into the topic after about 4 minutes of me blabbing about everything else. If you recall, a couple days ago, I did a video, The Joy of Reading a Good Comic Book, or A Joy of a Good Comic Book, and I told you how it goes even deeper than just reading the comic book itself. Well, this is the counter to it. The rage of reading a bad comic book. If you haven't already watched The Joy of a Good Comic Book, I strongly suggest that you do that first. It's going to give you a little bit more background, give you a little bit more build-up. So as I said in the previous video, I'm not going to cover everything. There was the anticipation of a good comic book to drive the camaraderie that you had at the comic shop, hopefully. Anyway, and then you bring the comic book home, and I talked about how great it is if you read good, but this is the bad. So now you break open that comic book, and it's of your favorite character or character team, and you pretty much read your hero getting kicked in the balls. And now, granted, I understand heroes have to go through challenges, but I mean, come on now. Your character's being worn as a skin suit for a villain, maybe for an issue or two, but for a frickin' year, right? Or all of a sudden your superheroes become a representation for a Nazi, even though he was part of his inception was fighting Nazis. Or all of a sudden your hero sexual orientation changed on a dime because somebody told him he was gay. Now, not that there's anything wrong with that, being gay, but you've been reading this character for decades, which showed you everything but that, which goes against what the character is. Or your character, even worse, becomes a one-note character. It's all he or she is known about by their sexual orientation. Nothing else, story or character-wise, matters. Your character has been decimated. You become agitated. You're angry a little bit even. It's like, why did they do this? So you take to the interwebs, the good old internet, or you talk to your friends too, and you go to the internet and say, what happened here? I can't believe this. You voice your displeasure. You say you didn't like the comic. Lo and behold, dun dun dun, a comic creator, the writer or whatever pops in and tells you how much of an a-hole you are, and how if you don't like it, you could feast upon their butt, or whatever kind of derogatory terminology they want to use to you. And then you go, wow, I'm not going to buy your product anymore. And their response to that is, well, you weren't buying our product because you're a racist, Nazi, homophobe, whatever it is, which only drives you even more angry. So you find out and you look around online or on YouTube and you find out, wow, you're not the only one. There's lots of people that feel this way, because not only when you just voiced your opinion on a comic book, did the artist or writer, most likely writer, well, or a third-tier rejected low-level artist, comes at you talking crap because you dislike their book, they then of course block you because they're so tough, you know, because it's so important to have equality and voice opinions unless yours is different. So anyway, as I said, you can take to the web, you take to YouTube, and you find out you're not alone. There's thousands of other people that feel just the way you did. Why did they turn around and take this character and do that to him? Or why was this book so bad? Or why does it look like it was drawn by a 3-year-old? Daryl. Anyway, or Squirrel Girl for that book too. Well, anyway, even the artist has talent, go figure. Well, anyway, so you share that, you know, and all of a sudden you find you're not alone. You have voices with lots of other people, a lot of them that were also silenced. Maybe they went to a comic book forum and they were silenced there because they said they didn't like a particular issue. Because, you know, you're not allowed to do that, because all those websites are really are shills for the comic book industry to push their sales. They're nothing but a marketing arm, CBR, stuff like that. And trust me, I'm not just spewing that. I've actually talked to some people to verify that. Okay? It's absolutely crazy. So yes, they wonder why then that you don't buy their books after, just because you say you didn't like something, they belittled you. Now, hear me out. How is that a smart business model? Businesses that are smart want to hear your negative thoughts. Now, granted, they don't want to hear it as in profanity, swearing at them, telling them they should die. I'm not promoting any of that, okay? But, you know, I'm all for promoting and speaking your mind about a product that you buy. Because you you ready for this? Marvel needs to listen to this. Consumers have the right to share an opinion about products that they bought, or even, here we are, here's one that Dan Slott, well, hey, even if you didn't buy it, if you previewed it, you looked at some of it and it wasn't for you, and you have some issues with it right at the start, you don't have to read the whole thing or the whole story arc. That is a complete ridiculous fallacy. That's like, well, I know you didn't like our food, but did you eat the whole thing? You don't have to. If it's a 4-story arc, 5, 6, or whatever, and you read the first issue or 2 and you don't like it, that's okay to share. That's your view. You are allowed to have that opinion. You are allowed to share it. Because think about this. It's a continuation product. If you don't like it, why would you want to buy the next issue? Why would you want people to waste their money? And that's the whole thing. They want to hide under that, guys. It's a protectionism. It's them building a wall trying to devalue your opinion because you voiced that you didn't like it. You don't have to read the whole story arc. Granted, you might miss something. There might be something you don't know. I'm not going to disagree with that. But if you genuinely dislike it, why would you keep reading something that you don't like? Just for the hope that it'll get better. How many of us have fallen into that trap? Let me ask you guys that as a question. How many of you have fallen into that trap? For example, maybe you were reading Amazing Spider-Man, hoping for each issue to get better. You know, well, maybe it'll be better next issue. Or whatever series. Well, I'm hoping it'll get better next issue. And then I'll think about how many dollars did you spend hoping that book would become better buying garbage issues that you don't like. See, and that's what they don't get. It's like saying, I don't like this pizza, so I'm going to buy 5 more pizzas and hope that one of them's good. It doesn't make sense. You have the right to dislike something. You have the right to share that, and they are just too thin-skinned to appreciate it. Now, once again, I do think it should be constructive criticism, not mean-spirited, I hate you, you suck kind of things. You could say things as to which I don't think they write the character well, they don't understand the character, I don't like this story. That's fine. Heck, actually anything's fine. You have freedom of speech. But bear in mind, I can understand why you would get a negative response when your initial post to something was, well, that writer's a moron and they should be shot. Well, yeah, okay, I can see why they'd have a negative response to that. As opposed to, wow, this issue just was not good. The art was bad. The character was written out of character. It just was not good. There's a difference in tone. Once again, you have the choice. I'm not trying to tell you how to tweet, how to post things on Facebook and share your views and message boards. I'm not trying to tell you that. I'm just saying it's amazing the experience we have, because now instead of the joy of comic books bringing us together to discuss it, you have an issue and the treatment that was systemic from that causing aggravation with the very company that you were supporting. Why the industry doesn't seem to figure that out, pissing off its customer base is not good. Well, it's all your fanboys. You realize those are customers that pay money, and I've been saying that even well before DNC mentioned it and it started catching on. It's just DNC has a lot bigger fan base, and that's not a complaint. I'm glad for that, because he has a bigger fan base. That means that message is going to get out even more, and I'm glad people that kept Cummings things are all jumping on that. Hey, these are customers, and on top of that, instead of just focusing on the negative like we're claimed to be, the Move the Needle movement I think is absolutely wonderful. Props to DNC for that. We'll keep sharing those good books that we enjoy. That way, hopefully, it outweighs the rage that we get from the bad ones. And hopefully, those good ones will sell so well, it'll wake them up in the industry, realizing what does not work. Because overall, their sales are down. And it's hurting comic shops, small businesses like that, more than anything else. And I know, and I can say this for a fact, I know that these people do not want negative things to comic shops. They don't want them to close down. They want them to be flourishing and successful. So let's push the good and hope they learn from that. And I'm not saying we can't talk about the bad. Absolutely talk about the bad too. But be careful. Try to stay focused on the good as much as possible. I know I can be guilty of that too. I should count my videos and see how many positive as opposed to negative there is. And I understand the reason why the negatives are out there too. The negative videos, guys, I'm going to be completely honest with you here. The negative videos draw in much more views. They do. Absolutely. So if you want attention, you want to grow your channel, most of the time you have to go negative, or it's very hard. I'm not saying you have to go negative, but it's going to be a much more slower pace. If you don't believe me on that, just watch the numbers on my joy of reading a good comic book views compared to negative videos, or opposed to this one, which is going to have rage about a bad comic book in the title. It should tell us a little bit. It should be interesting. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this video. As I said earlier, please be sure to hit like and subscribe. If you don't mind, go ahead and check out our Patreon. Maybe you can help us out there too if you want. Little Frugal and I would surely appreciate it. We're going to have some more fun lined up in the future. I have more plans. We have more Wheel of Fortune coming because I fixed that PlayStation. Little Frugal and I are going to do a Plants vs. Zombies versus match where he's going to be the zombies and I'm going to be the plants, and he's probably going to kick my butt. And I think we're going to also do a live stream where him and I are doing Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare together. So we have that hopefully coming up. I had some of those things planned earlier, but I had to postpone them all, as I said before, because my PlayStation 3 decided it was going to die. So that's what we got coming up, as well as more comic reviews. I know I'm still behind on the next issue of covering the Avengers, which I think it was issue 3. Is Is it 3 or 4? Maybe it's 4. I have to double check on that. I'm behind on that. I need to get on that. I'm probably a couple weeks behind. All right, guys, until next time, keep it frugal.